Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Clueless 8, and again, I'm going to be covering the S&P 500. Let's look at the daily chart first. Start off with that, and then look at some of the near-term charts. Okay, so let's start off with. Bear with me 1 second as I set this up. So going back to November of 2012. And this long acceleration that no one ever believed in, still don't believe in. This is what it looks like. Looking at longer term pictures gives us an idea of what we are doing as to what the market directional bias would be. Not that as traders we really care what happens in the long term, because we're really more concerned, to be honest with you, and some people more so than others, and I do advise them not to be like that, worried about what happens in the next 5 minutes. I heard more shrieks and complaints and God knows what else in different chat rooms and also in ours yesterday as the market was pulling back. We are our worst enemies, okay? And the bottom line is, when you start to feel like that without really studying the chart, studying what I'm trying to say, pattern symmetries and everything, all these value-added stuff that I put out there out of my experience I've had with the markets, when things get hairy, nobody looks at that, right? So they just basically just go with what their gut's saying, and their gut is 99% wrong, as we all know. Look at yourself, how many times you've made some stupid mistakes because, and as recently as yesterday, to be honest with you, many of you have, or you got scared out of the thing, as it was pretty clear what was going on. So I'm not going to harp on that, okay? Just everyone has to learn from their own mistakes. But learn. Don't just say, oh, I learned, and then repeat the same typical mistake. I see that happen too many times, and it just kills me. So bottom line is that what we have here is, which I've drawn very clearly in one of my other charts, which I think is one of the my charts I've drawn on the SPY, the one with the lighter background. Basically what the market did, and let me zoom in here, and I've seen this happen way too many times. The market came back and tested, and again, let's keep all the extraneous factors on the side. We talked about that. Currency devaluations, pressure on the credit markets, rumors about the Fed raising rates faster than moving up the dates, earlier dates for faster interest rate hikes, blah blah blah. What the market basically did, and I've seen this happen a zillion times, and I'm going to show it to you also, is the market came back and tested where it broke out of to see whether or not that level held. This is what the market did. If you notice here, okay, we tried once, we tried twice, and the third time market went up. So the level that the market needed to break out of was actually around 1986 or so, right? So guess what the market did? It came back and it tested that level. It held that level and now it's bouncing. Now there's no guarantee that the market's going to all of a sudden bounce and bounce and then take out a new high. But if you follow what I'm seeing here, it's possible that we get to that new high and fail again, or at least if you draw this, we're going to get up to somewhere around 2013, 2014. And I've showed that number in my other charts before. So again, that's really what we're shooting for. And that matches with what some of these pundits are saying. In the meantime, let's look at the internals. The market is topping. And you can clearly see here that we have we do have a histogram that has gone negative. Okay, we do have a crossover down. Doesn't have to be dramatic. Crossover down here wasn't that dramatic, and if this is the February pattern being played out. So let me just show it. So one like this, came down, zigzagged around, and then went up again. So it's going to probably do the same thing. Like that. And then basically stay like that, and then it goes up to its slightly higher levels before it tops. So this is the topping process, similar to this. All right. So Expect that to happen, I believe, as we get closer, possibly to the Alibaba IPO. You know what happened last time, right? When it was supposed to come early, money got sucked out of the market just to sit there on the side and go for the IPO settlement dollars. Can it happen? It sure can. So that's it. That's S&P 500. Let's look at a near-term chart here. The 1-hour chart. The 1-hour chart is and again, I'm just kind of recapping all this stuff, but I've shown so many good charts during the daytime, on intraday, on real time, that I'm like, I keep on, I'd like to remind all my traders and everyone who's free trialing my service. I provide enough tools, enough charts, which could match probably some of the top hedge funds that are out there. I don't want to brag, but they have very fancy stuff, all right? But I have enough tools in here and charts that if you study very carefully, in between, the zigzags and all the funky stuff that the market does, you can make a very decent sum of money. But the fact is, I can provide you with all the charts you want, but if you don't have the gumption, I'm not using the other fancy word, then you are not going to make money. Trading is 90% mental. I've been there. I still fight it every day. Sometimes I get scared, when the market does horrendously difficult things and you're in a stuck position. But the reality of the situation is, manage your trades. Don't go overboard. Don't take very large positions. Small can become very large. When these calls go from 9 cents to 22 cents and you buy a nice bunch, or they go from $1 to $4, like like 90% of my stocks have done just today alone, on the FEYEs, on the SPLKs, you name it. Okay? Then why do you need to put a large capital in the market at one go, especially choppy markets? So, again, I repeat, I provide enough charts for all of you to make a very decent sum of money. It's your responsibility to go out there, manage the amount that you put into each position, and manage that position. You don't have to get freaked out every time the market goes down 50 points, because you looked at the longer term picture, it doesn't even look like a drop. So anyway, saying all that, I do reserve the right to change my mind in 2 seconds, because I'm a messenger of the markets. I don't control the markets. So saying all that, at this point in time, this is what I see might happen. Let me get the drawing tool out on the thing. At this, let me see here. So we're crossing here. Just looking at some simple stuff that's worked magic for us. We had this big drop, big move, and so now we are crossing here. There's a little red, see that? With the green histogram that needs to grow higher. So I think we possibly get to about 2,000, or possibly we get towards back testing this, which would be around 2008, which is close to the highs. And I believe at that point we fail again, and then start doing things. So let's keep an eye on this. It's a fast-moving market. I guide people very, very well throughout the day, so you gotta monitor the real-time Twitter feed like a hawk. Understand what I'm saying? I put pictures up there. There's really not much more I can do. So there you go. That's your story for the S&P 500. I call this, and again, I showed this as the galloping horse. That's what I called it, right? The galloping horse pattern. Yeah. So there, the horse galloped. So now it's going to go up here and possibly cross over as we get into the end of the week. Keep in mind, tomorrow is September 11th. Respect the day. Say a prayer for the departed. And I believe that the markets, the way things work, they're not going to go do anything dramatic on a Thursday. And we end the week on a strong note. So just keep that in mind. That's it for the S&P 500. I'll cover the Russell 2000 and on the next video cast.